Hi everybody, welcome back. Some of you were asking the other day about this book that I recommended, the Spanish Verb Tenses Practice Makes Perfect by Dorothy Richmond. You can find it in your library, in the university library, Hardiman library.nugove.ie, online, free for you to use. But some of you were asking, where do I find what I need? So if you can see, when you open the book, you have the content, okay? So if we go to the present tense, which is where we are, you could practice conjugation of regular verbs here. If I go to it, it clicks into it, and you have an explanation in English. And then after that, you have a series of sentences here to conjugate. And then at the end, if you went Control-N to the very last pages, you can find the solutions, okay? Also, I recommended you chapter 8 the other day, which is the stem change in verbs. And today, we're going to launch into a whole new verb, which is the verb gustar, which is chapter 11, which I recommend you for these purposes too. Okay, so you can use these books. You can use any other source online that is helping you. The colby.edu/Nelson Spanish exercises website has a few as well. So whatever works with you is fine. The point is to practice this grammar that you're looking at in these small videos. So today, for our fifth session, we're going to concentrate on the verb gustar, which sort of means to like. The verb gustar is a regular verb, but functions differently to the verbs that we've been looking at. To form gustar, you typically need three things. So an object, which is the thing or activity that you like. But in Spanish, okay, this thing you like is going to be your subject, which is pretty weird. So it's basically, instead of saying I like football, we say football is pleasing to me, okay? That's basically what's going to happen. Then you're going to need the verb gustar, and for the moment we're just going to focus on those two endings, gusta or gustan. And then the person who actually likes is going to be used, it's going to be referred to with an indirect object pronoun. What is this indirect object pronoun? We're going to see them in a minute. So for example, okay, to say I like coffee, we would say el café. Then we would use the singular form of gusta because café is singular. And then we could use that me, which is the indirect object pronoun for I. Me gusta el café. How do I actually do this? Let's look at another example. I like films, películas, las películas. So I would use an, and then me gustan las películas. If you use a verb after gustar, it appears in the infinitive. In English, you could say ing form, which is the gerund. In this case, it appears in the basic form of the verb called the infinitive. I like playing football becomes me gusta jugar al fútbol. If you use more than one verb, gusta remains in the singular. It doesn't matter how many actions you like. I like running and cycling becomes me gusta correr e ir en bici, o montar en bici. So what are the other forms of the indirect object pronouns that we use? So we use me, te for you, le for he, she, well, to him, to her, and to you in the form of usted, nos, os, and then les for to them and to ustedes. Okay. So, ¿qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre? No nos gusta ir a la universidad los lunes. Those are the examples you can see there. Sometimes Spaniards like doubling things up or adding something for clarification and or emphasis. It's very similar to Irish in that way. So sometimes we have additional phrases that we use with the verb gustar. A mí, which means exactly the same as me, gusta. So we can have it or leave it. That's why it appears in parentheses. A mí me gusta, a ti te gusta, a él, a ella, a usted le gusta, a nosotros o nosotras nos gusta, a vosotros o vosotras os gusta, a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes les gusta. Notice that we just left gusta in the singular form. So be careful. These additional phrases are obligatory sometimes when the person name is mentioned. So if I want to say Mary, I need that a María le gusta jugar al tenis. Okay? So if I'm clarifying who is this le with the name, with the proper name, then I need all that. A María le gusta jugar al tenis. Perdón. So, overview, you have a chart here. A mí me gusta jugar al tenis, a mí me gustan los libros. A ti te gusta jugar al tenis, a ti te gustan los libros. A ella, a él, a usted le gusta jugar al tenis, a él le gustan los libros, a nosotros nos gusta jugar al tenis, a nosotros nos gustan los libros, a vosotros os gusta jugar al tenis, a vosotros os gustan los libros, a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes les gusta jugar al tenis, a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes les gustan los libros. So let's try. Try to fill in the blanks for all these little blanks we have here. ¿Gusta el cine? Sí, mucho. ¿Qué tipo de películas? Las películas de amor. A mi novia no. A ella, las películas de terror, como el proyecto de la bruja de Blair. A los dos, mucho las películas musicales, sobre todo las de jazz. ¿A ti te gustan? No, no. A mí, las de ciencia ficción. So have a good look at it, stop the video if you need to, and now we're going to see the answers. ¿Te gusta el cine? Sí, me gusta mucho. ¿Qué tipo de películas? Me gustan las películas de amor. A mi novia no. A ella le gustan las películas de terror, como el proyecto de la bruja de Blair. A los dos nos gustan mucho las películas musicales, sobre todo las de jazz. ¿A ti te gustan? No, no me gustan. A mí me gustan las películas de ciencia ficción. So have a good look and see how you did. Now we move on to this personal direct object A. This A that we saw with Gustar is going to show up sometimes in other sentences. Okay, so I'm moving on from the verbs like Gustar to a different thing. So the direct object is a syntactic term used to designate the entity receiving the action of the verb. In other words, the what normally. Sometimes it's the who, like you're going to see here, the to whom is the action. In Spanish, when this type of complement refers to a person or to a personified entity, there's a typo there, sorry, entity should be one TI, not two. It is introduced by the preposition a. So in English, you could say, I visit my grandma. What am I visiting? My grandma. So my grandma is a person. So because my grandma is a person, I need to use the a there. Visito a mi abuela todos los fines de semana. It's what we call the personal a. Okay. If this thing I visit was Galway, which is not a person, I wouldn't have it. I would say, visito Galway todos los fines de semana. Same happens with my dog. Quiero mucho a mi perro. I love my dog a lot. My dog is almost like a person to me. So I use the preposition a to the personal a. Okay? Personal direct object a, more. But we never use this preposition with three verbs, ser, to be, tener, to have, haber, there is, there are. Alicia es mi hermana. Hay 20 personas en clase. Tengo un amigo que vive en Dublín. Let's try for ourselves. Do we need the a or do we not? ¿Encontráis mis libros? ¿Encuentras, Declan? Conozco mi hermano. Conocen Venecia muy bien. Escribe de amor. Escribe Rebeca todos los días. Visitamos mi tía en el hospital. Mis padres visitan Barcelona todos los años. In this sentence, I just spotted a typo. It should say escribe cartas, C-A-R-T-A-S, cartas de amor. Okay? So let's stop the video and then check your answers. ¿Encontráis mis libros? Encuentras a Declan. Conozco a mi hermano. Conocen Venecia muy bien. Escribe cartas de amor. Escribe a Rebeca todos los días. Visitamos a mi tía en el hospital. Mis padres visitan Barcelona todos los años. So you can see that we've inserted an a anytime we have a person as the object. What do I find books? No. What do I find Declan? Yes. But who do I know? My brother? Yes. What do I know? Venecia? No. Letters? No. I write to Rebecca, person. Yeah. Visitamos a mi tía to visit my aunt. So yes. So anytime we use a personal a. Okay. You also have an exercise on this in the book that I just mentioned to you. You have it here in chapter 5. You have the exercises on the personal a. Thank you very much.